Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Boujee and Unbothered. You have Sasha here.
And Kim.
And today we have an interesting topic based off of a scenario or so that Kim recently encountered. So we're going to talk about being invited to a function. Planned versus impromptu invitation. So, Kim, I know you have very strong opinions about this. So, if you could take us into what catalyzed this for you, and then I can give you my thoughts as well.
So, I will say that it was a recent situation, but it's something that happens every so often. And I just have strong sensitivities about this because I was raised with this principle that when there is a planned function, there should be invitations that are sent in advance because part of the planning is a guest list. And if you do not receive an invitation, but a last minute impromptu update or request to attend, then you are an afterthought. So as such, you should not go. And so I've had a situation where a friend of mine his significant other was planning a birthday party for him, and obviously the planning was in the works for quite some time, but I didn't get an invitation until the day of. So the question was, do I overlook the fact that I was an afterthought in the planning process and just accept, because I was available, or should I just decline because I refuse to be accepted as an afterthought? My position is that if I get a last minute invitation or request to a function, I will automatically decline.
Ooh. But it's also serious. I just feel like, well, one, I will say, I respect your commitment to like the Kim brand. I feel like definitely this is very on brand for Kim, where she will not be an afterthought. And you know what? I respect that. I definitely do. I mean, I feel like for me, it's not that big of a deal for me personally. I think it also depends on the function and I guess how integral that person is in my life and vice versa. But to me, it's not really that big of a deal. Like, I wouldn't be very offended. I think if I got a same day, oh, by the way, like, we're throwing a party at the house for so-and-so, why don't you come? You know, that wouldn't really bother me. That wouldn't really throw me off. I feel like I wouldn't really kind of put that much into thinking that, oh, they should have checked with me before. But again, I think it also depends on the person. Now, this is somebody I talk to on a regular basis. This is like an everyday friend. And then I find out that they knew all along they were planning some function for something and they invite me last minute. I might feel put off by that versus if I know, like, it's a friend, but it's like, we don't talk to each other every single day. The person who's throwing the party for them, they don't really like talk to me like that. So an impromptu invitation, not a big deal. I also think it depends on the function. So if it's like a wedding, you know, if it's something like big, then, you know, I would factor that in too. Because clearly you were waiting for somebody. I was on the backup list, if that's the case, as opposed to being on the main list. I might feel a way about that. But then it depends on how I know the person and how close we are. But I will say, Tim, I do know you refuse to be an afterthought, period.
Yes. And you know what's so interesting? Because I'm usually not as black and white on certain things, and I usually am okay with the gray. But one thing that I will always have a firm stance on is consistency in terms of how I engage people. So if I allow it this time and I went, that's a signal, that's a subconscious signal to the person that what I did was okay. So if it happens again, she'll be all right. So that's why for me, I choose I'm not going to think about the variables of the degree of friendship or what kind of function it is. Straight down the line, so that there is no confusion on where I stand on this issue. If you provide me last minute notice, it is an automatic no. And I am not going to feel any type of way about it because you didn't give me the courtesy of time. So I don't owe you any courtesies. So next time, if you want me to be at your function, but if you want me to be at your function next time, guess what you're not going to do? Send me a last minute request because you know that it's going to be an automatic no. And I'm fine if I don't get another invitation, and that's okay because anytime I go somewhere, I'm gonna have to bring a gift and come out of pocket anyway. So it's a loss to the person that I'm not going. So I don't really care. But if you want me there, you let me know in advance. And if you don't, then that just lets me know that you don't really value my attendance, and I'm okay with that.
I am so tickled by this, guys, I have to say, because Kim and I absolutely realize we are black and white on completely different things. And we're gray on completely different things. And I think it is hysterical. But I will say, you always have the energy for the smoke. Like you're always aligned with, okay, well, come what may. Whatever the consequences of this is, it is what it is. But, you remain consistent. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know. I just feel like I don't always think that it has to be that black and white in terms of I'm either an afterthought or I'm not. And I think that if you are an afterthought in certain scenarios and certain relationships, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not still valued in that relationship. I think it just does have to do with how close is that relationship. Are you going to be top of mind for that person? And if you're not, I mean, is that a big problem? Is that a big deal? I think that there's just some relationships that are more tangential than others. And, if it's just like, a school friend or, a neighborhood friend or childhood friend that you're not really that close to, but you were still thought of.
Then they shouldn't invite me. No, that's the thing. That's where we need to start to prioritize. And it's okay to not have to cast a wide net. If we're not that close and you were that much on the fence that you waited till the last day to invite me, I'm doing you a favor because I'm letting you know that you don't have to invite me because I don't want to come. Like we're not that close anyway. I mean, I have no fear. I am so unbothered by this. Like, it's not like I have such negative thoughts about this. It is that, like, no doesn't always have to be a negative. It's okay to say no. If I
agree
don't
with that,
like,
sure.
if I don't like how you requested my attendance based on the timing that I received it, I fundamentally have a right to say no. And that is okay. And I didn't have any hard feelings about it. It was just like, I can't make it. That's it. I can't make it.
You know what, though? I think that there's something to be said for that, though, right? Like, I think that we are off. Most of us have been raised, especially in that kind of like bridge millennial space. Most of us have been raised to be nice girls and to always be nice. Right? And there are a lot of people who are still, it's true, uncomfortable.
Are you saying that I'm not nice?
No.
Are you saying that I'm not nice because
you're not nice all the time.
Invitation?
That's not nice.
I think
but you don't have to be nice.
But I think that was nice of me. You know why? Because I was nice to myself. Because I respected myself enough to know that I'm not going to compromise.
You see how I'm trying to agree with her? Is she over here acting like this? Nice
is not a one-way track. So just because I say no to you doesn't mean I'm actually being nice to myself. I'm not compromising myself. I'm holding on to my beliefs, and now you know where I stand.
Okay, well, you ain't gonna derail my lesson. Okay, so look. There's two sides to nice, okay? That's what I'm trying to say is we have been instructed, okay, and it's been ingrained in us to be nice to others. But being nice to oneself was always taught as being something that's selfish. And I think especially as women, we were almost taught against at a macro level. And I do agree with the fact that you do need to be nice to yourself too. There's always this new term, protect your energy. I am with that. So, it is protecting your energy and protecting you don't always have to say yes. You can say no and be okay and comfortable in saying no and not feel a way about it. You see how I was trying to rock? And you came and you almost threw me off.
That was the long way. You stayed committed to the end, so I do appreciate that. I get where you were trying to go with it. I do appreciate that. But no, I mean, people are always complaining about how they're getting treated by people, but it starts with you first. You set the tone. How people would treat you, how you let them. And I mean, it's a small lesson. It may seem like it's so benign, but I constantly take every opportunity to be a teaching moment in terms of how to actually handle me.
You do. I am not even going to front. I'm not even going to front. Kim is a walking lesson of how to treat her at all times. And when I say she stays ready, she stays ready. Okay?
But it's not.
The middle of the night and we need to leave a hotel because we didn't get the optimal treatment, and it's 3 a.m. Kim is ready. Okay, and if that means that we're gonna be walking the streets until 5 a.m. to find a replacement hotel, and that's what it means. So you stay on go. I wish I had those energy levels. I really do. I will say that you could catch me in an off time. Okay, like I'm with that like 80% of the time, but I'm gonna try and be honest with you. There's a 20% window where you could catch me just going along with the grain because I ain't got the energy for that, child. But I appreciate that you always stay on go for that, and you are literally a walking, talking, teachable moment.
But you know what? There's many things that people can say about me, but you know what I don't want anyone to ever say? I didn't know that's how she felt, or I didn't know that's how she would react. That's why I think consistency is important, because if I've dealt with you enough, you know where I stand on a lot of things. So you know what's acceptable and what's not. So we're not going to have that I didn't know. It's going to be like you knew and you didn't care. You did it anyway. So these are the consequences.
Well, now I feel like we're countering our own unbothered principle of the unpredictable.
But it's not. Well, no. Well, no. Consistency and unpredictable is different. So I think that you should have consistency in terms of the behaviors, in terms of how you should be treated. But I think when we talk about our principle in terms of unpredictability, it's a matter of not just falling in line with social norms. In terms of, you don't have to do things just because people said that that's what you should do. Like, we're in our 30s, and there are certain predefined milestones that you need to have, and people pass judgment. And I think that when we talk about being unpredictable, it's a matter of you can live by your own rules. But living by your own rules doesn't mean that you can't have consistency. Like, I feel like we go back and forth on the term predictable.
We do.
Because I think your definition of unpredictability.
Yes.
No, unpredictable doesn't mean that I'm going to let you treat me any kind of way and then I'm going to have like this crazy reaction. That's not unpredictability.
I mean, I definitely get it. I had to be brought over to the side of the camp of what unpredictability means for us. But no, I'm with that. I mean, it is about being positively disruptive and making your own way, right? And not just feeling like you have to do what's expected of you, which is I think what our generation is definitely good at, like, and good about, is that understanding that we are individuals, that we are able to kind of make our own way, and that we don't have to just go along with everything. I think for me, unpredictable, not being very literal at times, unpredictable. Like there's an aspect of intention there that I originally associated with it. That doesn't necessarily have to be associated with it. So it's not that you're intentionally trying to throw people off just to throw people off just to play a game. It's about always being you and not being afraid to do that. All right, we back.
God. You look at that. It's only taken like years to get you to this point. That's all. Just a few years.
Coming around.
Nothing.
I always tell you, I'm a couple years behind you. It takes me a little while to get there. It's all right. I get there eventually. So, I do feel like we definitely covered the Boujee Girl takeaway, in that it is about understanding that nice is not just about being nice to other people. It's about being nice to yourself first. And then,
right.
Kim, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I have a couple in this because I think we started branching off, but definitely what you said in terms of being nice to yourself, but also consistency. And you have to train people to treat you the way you want to be treated. And I think another one that was a subtle uncovering, and we can unpack that in another episode, but no doesn't have to be negative. No can mean that you're saying yes to yourself.
Look at you.
I know. I just thought about that. Saying no to someone else means that you're saying yes to yourself. There you go. That's the other takeaway.
All right. Well, we gonna put that on the merch, guys. So that you know. Yes, but always remember the unbothered principle, which does not come into question even with this topic of being consistent. So y'all need to just stay moisturized, stay unbothered,
and be unpredictable.
All right. We'll see y'all in the next episode.